The rain was relentless, hammering the streets of Brooklyn like it had a personal vendetta. Ezra Cole sprinted through the downpour, his sneakers splashing in puddles, heart pounding not from the run but from the words still burning in his ears. Let's just have fun. Easy. No strings. Caleb's voice, smooth and careless, had sliced through him like a blade, leaving him raw and reckless. He ducked into a dimly lit bar, the Rusty Anchor, shaking water from his jacket. The place smelled of whiskey and nostalgia, its wooden booths scarred with stories. Ezra was 24, a graphic designer with a penchant for bad decisions, and tonight felt like the start of another one. Caleb, his on-again, off-again fling, had made it clear their late-night talks, stolen kisses, and tangled sheets were just a game. Ezra wanted more, craved it, but Caleb's smirk had dismissed that dream in seconds. Slumping onto a bar stool, Ezra ordered a bourbon, his hazel eyes scanning the room. That's when he saw him. Across the bar, a man sat alone, his broad shoulders hunched over a glass of red wine. He was older, mid-40s, maybe with salt and pepper hair and a jawline that could have been carved from stone. His flannel shirt was rolled up to his elbows, revealing forearms that spoke of hard work and quiet strength. Something about him felt safe, dangerous, too. Ezra's phone buzzed. A text from Caleb. You good? Come back. We can still chill. Ezra's jaw tightened. He typed a quick, I'm done, and hit send, his heart lurching as he pocketed the phone. No going back. Not this time. The bartender slid the bourbon over, and Ezra took a sip, the burn grounding him. He glanced at the man again, catching his eye for a split second before the stranger looked away, a faint smile tugging at his lips. Ezra's pulse quickened. He wasn't one to make the first move, but something about tonight, maybe the rain, maybe Caleb's rejection, pushed him forward. He grabbed his drink and crossed the bar, sliding into the booth across from the man. Mind if I join you? Rain's got me stuck, and I'm not great at drinking alone. The man looked up, his green eyes sharp yet warm, like a forest after a storm. You don't look like the type who needs company, he said, his voice low and gravelly. But sure, take a seat. I'm Ezra, he said, offering a hand. Gabriel, the man replied, shaking it. His grip was firm, his hand warm, and Ezra felt a jolt he couldn't explain. You running from something? Ezra. Ezra laughed, a little too sharply. Yeah, you could say that. Bad night. Bad choices. You. Gabriel leaned back, his gaze steady. Just passing through. Got a job in the city for a few weeks. Thought I'd see what Brooklyn's got to offer. They talked easily. Surprisingly, Gabriel was a contractor, building homes upstate, with a quiet humor that snuck up on you. Ezra found himself laughing. Really laughing. For the first time in weeks. Gabriel's stories were grounded. Real tales of early mornings on construction sites, of small-town life, of a niece who kept him on his toes. Ezra shared his own chaos, his art, his late nights designing logos for startups, his tendency to fall for guys who didn't fall back. You're young, Gabriel said, swirling his wine. Plenty of time to figure it out. Ezra bristled, though he wasn't sure why. I'm not that young. I know what I want. Just keep picking the wrong guys. Gabriel's eyes softened, and for a moment, Ezra felt seen, really seen. Wrong guys. Huh. Maybe you're just looking in the wrong places. The night blurred. One drink became three, and the bar's hum faded into the background. Ezra's guard was down, his heart open in a way it hadn't been in months. Gabriel listened, his presence steady, grounding. When Ezra mentioned Caleb without naming him, Gabriel's jaw tightened. But he didn't interrupt. Sounds like he doesn't know what he's got. Gabriel said finally, his voice low. Someone like you. You don't settle for just fun. You deserve better. Ezra's breath caught. The words hit harder than he expected, stirring something deep. He leaned closer, their knees brushing under the table. And what's better look like? Gabriel. Gabriel's smile was slow, deliberate. Someone who shows up. Someone who stays. The bar was closing, the rain still pounding outside. Gabriel offered to share his umbrella, and Ezra, heart racing, said yes. They stepped into the storm, huddling close, the city alive around them. Ezra didn't know where this was going, but for the first time in a long time, he felt like he was running towards something. The next morning, Ezra woke to sunlight streaming through his apartment window, his head foggy from bourbon and possibility. Gabriel had walked him home, their conversation spilling onto the wet streets until they reached Ezra's door. No kiss. No grand gesture, just a quiet, see you around, Ezra. And a number scrawled on a napkin. Ezra stared at the napkin now, his thumb brushing over the digits. He wanted to call, but doubt crept in. Gabriel was older, grounded, real. What would a guy like that want with someone like Ezra? Restless, impulsive, still figuring himself out. His phone buzzed. Caleb again. You serious about being done? Come on. Easy. Ezra deleted the message, his resolve hardening. He wasn't going back to games. He dialed Gabriel's number, heart in his throat. Morning. Gabriel's voice rumbled through the phone, warm and steady. Didn't think you'd call so soon. Couldn't help it, Ezra said, grinning despite himself. You free today? They met at a cafe in Williamsburg, a cozy spot with exposed brick and the scent of fresh coffee. Gabriel looked even better in daylight, his flannel swapped for a navy sweater that hugged his frame. They talked for hours about art, family, the little things that make a life. Gabriel's stories carried weight, like he'd lived through more than he let on. Ezra felt drawn to that depth, to the quiet strength in Gabriel's presence. You ever been in love? Ezra asked, stirring his latte, the question slipping out before he could stop it. Gabriel's eyes flickered, a shadow passing over them. Once. Didn't end well. You. Ezra hesitated. Thought I was. Turns out it was just chasing something that wasn't there. Gabriel nodded, like he understood more than Ezra was saying. Love's tricky. It's not just the feeling, it's the choice to stick around when it gets hard. Ezra's chest tightened. He wanted to ask more, to dig into Gabriel's past, but something held him back. Instead, he reached across the table, his fingers grazing Gabriel's. You make it sound simple. It's not, Gabriel said, his hand still under Ezra's. But it's worth it. That night, they walked through Prospect Park, the city lights glinting in the distance. Gabriel's arm brushed against Ezra's, and when their hands found each other, it felt like the most natural thing in the world. Ezra's heart was a mess. Hope, fear, desire all tangled together, but for once, he didn't want to run. A week later, Ezra's life felt like it was splitting open, new possibilities spilling out. Gabriel was a constant now. Texts in the morning, late-night calls, stolen moments over coffee or walks through the city. But Caleb wasn't gone. His texts kept coming, each one a reminder of the pull Ezra had fought to escape. Miss you. Easy. Let's talk. Ezra ignored them, but the weight lingered. He was falling for Gabriel hard. The way Gabriel listened, the way he showed up, steady and present, was everything Caleb wasn't. But doubt gnawed at Ezra. Was he moving too fast? Was Gabriel just a rebound, a way to fill the hole Caleb left? One evening, Gabriel invited Ezra to his temporary apartment in Dumbo, a loft with exposed beams and a view of the Manhattan skyline. They cooked together pasta. Simple but messy, laughing as sauce splattered on Ezra's shirt. Gabriel's hands were steady as he wiped it off, his touch lingering. Ezra's breath hitched, and before he could overthink it, he leaned in. Their kiss was slow, deliberate, like Gabriel was savoring every second. Ezra felt it in his Bonisa connection that went beyond heat, beyond fleeting. When they pulled back, Gabriel's eyes were dark, searching. You sure about this, Ezra? Ezra nodded, his voice barely above a whisper. I'm sure. That night, they didn't just fall into bed, they talked, laughed, shared pieces of themselves. Gabriel spoke of his ex, a man who'd left when things got tough, and Ezra saw the hurt he carried, hidden beneath his strength. Ezra confessed his fear of being unlovable, of always chasing the wrong people. Gabriel listened, his hand resting on Ezra's, and said, You're enough, Ezra. More than enough. The next day, reality crashed in. Ezra was at a gallery opening, showing off his latest designs. When Caleb appeared, he looked the same, blonde hair, cocky grin, all charm and no substance. You ghosted me, Caleb said, stepping too close. What's up with that? Ezra's stomach churned. I told you I was done, Caleb. I meant it. Caleb's eyes narrowed, but his smile didn't falter. You'll miss me. Whoever you're with now. They won't last. Ezra walked away, heart pounding, but Caleb's words clung to him. That night, he told Gabriel everything, Caleb's games, the hurt, the fear of repeating old patterns. Gabriel listened, his face unreadable. When Ezra finished, Gabriel pulled him close, his voice steady. You're not defined by him, Ezra. You choose who you are. Ezra wanted to believe him, but Caleb's shadow loomed. The next week, at a friend's party in Greenpoint, it all unraveled. Ezra was laughing with Gabriel, their hands intertwined. When Caleb walked in, time froze. Caleb's eyes locked on Gabriel, then Ezra, and his face twisted in a way Ezra hadn't seen before. You're kidding me, Caleb said, his voice loud enough to draw stares. You're with him. Ezra frowned, confused. What's that supposed to mean? Caleb laughed, bitter and sharp. You didn't know? That's my uncle, Ezra. Gabriel's my freaking uncle. The room spun. Ezra's hand slipped from Gabriel's, his mind reeling. Gabriel's face was pale, his jaw tight. Caleb, he said, his voice low. This isn't the place. But Caleb wasn't done. You left me for him. My uncle. That's low. Easy. Ezra's chest burned, anger and betrayal colliding. He looked at Gabriel, searching for answers. You knew. You knew he was your nephew. Gabriel's silence was answer enough. Ezra turned and walked out, the party's noise fading behind him. The city felt too big, too loud, and he was drowning in it. Ezra didn't answer Gabriel's calls for 3 days. He threw himself into work, sketching furiously, trying to outrun the ache in his chest. Gabriel knew Caleb was his nephew and said nothing. Was it a game? A betrayal? Or just a cruel twist of fate? On the 4th day, Gabriel showed up at Ezra's apartment, his face drawn. Can we talk? He asked, his voice soft but urgent. Ezra let him in, arms crossed, walls up. You should have told me. Gabriel nodded, running a hand through his hair. I should have. I didn't know at first, not until you mentioned his name that night at the bar. By then, I was already falling for you. Ezra's heart stuttered, but he held his ground. And you didn't think to mention it. That the guy I was trying to get over was your nephew. I wanted to, Gabriel said, stepping closer. But I didn't want to lose you. I thought if I told you, you'd run. And Ezra, I'm not him. I'm not playing games. Ezra wanted to believe him, but trust felt fragile. Why didn't you tell Caleb to back off? Gabriel's jaw tightened. Caleb's complicated. He's been reckless since he was a kid, always chasing what he can't have. I didn't raise him, but I've cleaned up his messes. When I saw you with him, I knew you deserved better. I just didn't expect better to mean me. Ezra's walls cracked, but he wasn't ready to let them fall. I need time. Gabriel. Gabriel nodded, his eyes heavy with regret. I'll wait. Days turned into a week. Ezra wrestled with his feelings, torn between the spark with Gabriel and the sting of Caleb's shadow. He met friends, painted, tried to reclaim himself. But Gabriel's words echoed, I'm not playing games. And Ezra couldn't shake the memory of their kiss. The way Gabriel's presence felt like home. One night, Ezra found himself at the Rusty Anchor again, the bar where it all began. He wasn't expecting Gabriel, but there he was, sitting in the same booth, nursing a beer. Ezra's heart lurched. He crossed the room, sliding in across from him. You're here, Ezra said, his voice softer than he meant. Gabriel looked up, surprised but hopeful. Couldn't stay away. This place, it's where I met you. They talked slowly, carefully. Gabriel opened up about his family, about Caleb's mother. His sister Hode struggled with addiction, leaving Gabriel to step in when he could. Caleb's charm hid a restless heart, always running from commitment. Ezra saw it now, the pieces clicking into place. I'm not him, Gabriel said again, his voice steady. I'm here, Ezra, for you. Ezra reached for his hand, the weight of the past week lifting. I know. Spring came to Brooklyn, the city blooming with possibility. Ezra and Gabriel rebuilt, step by step. They took it slow dates in quiet bookstores, walks along the Hudson, late-night talks that peeled back layers of fear and hope. Caleb faded, his texts stopping, his presence a ghost Ezra no longer chased. One evening, Gabriel took Ezra to a rooftop in Red Hook, the skyline glittering across the water. He'd brought a blanket, a bottle of wine, and a nervous smile. I've got something to say, Gabriel started, his voice rough with emotion. Ezra's heart raced. Yeah. I love you, Ezra, Gabriel said, his eyes steady. Not just for now, for keeps. Ezra's breath caught, tears prickling his eyes. He'd spent so long chasing fleeting moments, running from rejection. That love real, steady love felt like a miracle. I love you too, he whispered. And when they kissed, it was a promise. Months later, at a small gallery show, Ezra's art was on display, vibrant, bold, full of life. Gabriel stood beside him, proud and quiet, his hand in Ezra's. Caleb showed up, uninvited, his grin softer now, less cocky. You look happy, he said to Ezra. No trace of bitterness. I am, Ezra replied, his grip on Gabriel's hand tightening. Caleb nodded, glancing at Gabriel. Take care of him, Uncle Gabe. Gabriel's smile was small but genuine. Always. As Caleb walked away, Ezra felt a weight lift. He wasn't the boy who'd run into the Rusty Anchor, chasing a fleeting high. He'd found something real, something worth keeping. And as he leaned into Gabriel, the city alive around them, Ezra knew he'd chosen right not just for fun, but for forever. The journey hadn't been easy. Love never was. But standing there, hand in hand with Gabriel, Ezra understood love wasn't about perfection. It was about showing up, staying, and building something real. And that was enough.